Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine and I'm back to do another review of CBS's Big Brother Season 18, episode number 18, so let's just get down to it. Kudos to Big Brother, kudos to the editors, kudos to production, and kudos to Julie Chen. This episode, in my opinion, was one of the best, if not the best. I was on the edge of my seat trying to figure out whether or not Frank had acquired the envelope with the round-trip ticket in it. However, when Julie decided to wait until commercial to build up suspense, I had a strong feeling that Frank did not get that envelope. I even remember listening to the feeds and hearing how everybody was talking about their different envelopes and everything, and part of me was saying that Frank didn't get it. Then I was on social media, Tumblr, Twitter, whatever, and people were convinced that Frank got it, that production somehow, some way rigged it for Frank. Apparently not. My gut feeling was right, because honestly in this season, Frank thought he had it like that. He kept throwing little hints like, I hope something saves me. Ooh, I hope that I'm here. If I'm here, just all this stuff, and just seemed to be like trying to signal something, but it didn't work at all. Now, as to who has that envelope, I have no idea, but I think the person in this house that needs it the most is Davon at this point, because she has the world's biggest target on her back and she doesn't know who she can trust. And since the HOH competition is going on right now, it's probably going on the feeds as I am doing this review, I hope and pray that Paulie does not win that HOH. I can deal with everybody else, but Paulie is so smug. Paulie thinks he runs everything. I want somebody new to win that HOH. I don't know about you guys, but when Michelle was crying over this whole decision that she made to not use the veto, I honestly didn't buy it. To me, it felt like an act. It's probably only me, but I'm saying because of the fact that, like, Michelle was all on board to get rid of Frank. And especially after last night's episode, when she was showing this emotion, I was just like, nah, is Michelle playing around? Like, what is going on? But when she cried into his arms, basically, that's when I was like, question mark, right above my head. Like, is this real, Michelle, or are you faking it? Now, Bridget is sad that Frank is leaving, and Frank tells her that she needs to win HOH to shake up the house. Bridget says she doesn't have a lot of friends. She still continues this whole thing about Frank being her bestie, despite the fact that Natalie has her back. Obviously, she's still in the house. And even though she was on the block, she was not the main target, and Natalie made sure of that. And she believes that people don't like her for her, but she believes that Frank does. No, Frank just used her. And it's not that people don't like her for her. I'm sure they have their qualms about her personality as they do about other house guests. But the thing about Bridget was that Bridget was pretty much Frank's little lapdog, and that is what really bothered people about Bridget, because they felt like they couldn't trust her because she was basically doing all of his dirty work. Frank really thought that he could work Michelle and try to get her to give him a vote, or he was holding out hope that she would, but I didn't think that she would, considering that she had a conversation that included, if memory serves, James, Day, and Natalie, whereas she basically outed herself as being, you know, a fan of Frank's, and basically telling everybody, listen, I considered keeping him, which of course upset Day. I'm sure upset other people, because they're just like, Michelle, what are you thinking? But the fact that Frank thought that Michelle would save him was a little bit hilarious, but at the same time, it also shows how Frank thought that he had it like that, because if Michelle had cast a vote against Bridget, then the entire house would have known that it was Michelle, and then they would have targeted her, like she said. So basically, the whole secret room thing popped up in the episode, And out of all the people in the house to crack this code, obviously, I shouldn't even have been surprised that it was Paul. Paul cracked the code and did it so quickly, it was ridiculous. So he found the clue for the secret destination, and he said the last thing that he wanted was for Frank and Bridget to find out that all you had to do was go upstairs, go to that secret phone booth. I call it a secret phone booth because most people didn't even notice it was there because no one had tried to use it. And then type in or turn, because it was a rotary phone, like turn the numbers to spell out Paris, which is also the name of my cat. It's pretty funny. But I believe that the reason Paul had to tell everybody save for Frank and Bridget about his findings involving this secret clue, secret room situation was to keep Frank and Bridget away from that rotary phone booth, the booth that nobody had used up until that point. Because you know good and well Frank would have put 2 and 2 together like he did, and Bridget, although some people think that Bridget is slow, I have always seen Bridget as somebody who is secretly smart, and by secretly smart I mean somebody who is putting on, but she's more aware of what is going on than people think that she is. So basically, Paul figures everything out. Paul opens up the trap door, goes inside, and finds 12 envelopes in this beautiful Paris room. So cool. And he has to pick one because one of those 12 envelopes includes a round-trip ticket, and only Julie Chen can open it after the person is quote-unquote evicted. She has to read it live on air. So Big Brother calls upon Jason from season 17, Meg from season 17, Mike Boogie from season 2 and season 14, and Hayden from season 16 to talk about their buddies. Now, Jason is the first. He talks about how great of a player Davon is. He said that she's been called out, but he also said if you are willing to play hard, you have to be willing to accept what happens when it comes back around and basically bites you in the butt. And I think that Davon's doing a good job of accepting that. Meg is basically talking about James and said that James never talked about romance. He and she were solely friends, and that James needs to watch out for Davon. Out of all those people in the house, for some reason, Meg decides that Davon is the biggest threat to James. Nah. I think out of all the people that they would turn on, James would be the last person on the list, if he was even on the list, even after the situation that happened in season 17. Day and James are pretty close, in my opinion. Hayden says that he and Nicole dated. It didn't work out, and Nicole explained to us the reason why it was that. I guess she wanted a family and children, and he didn't. And he says that it's weird to see her in a showmance. I wish that Big Brother had allowed him to explain what he meant, but there was only so much time to speak in the time that was allotted, unfortunately. So Mike Boogie basically said that Frank is playing a horrible game, but Frank is a fighter. And he, like I, also said that Frank shouldn't have told people he won the BB Roadkill. I wish he hadn't either, because that really would have shaken up the game. But unfortunately, in this season, people pretty much have to divulge all these twists that should be secret as much as they possibly can. I hope that that made sense to you, because it made sense to me with what I said. But anyway, it came down to the vote. Day, Paul, Paulie, Nicole, Victor, Michelle, Zakia, Corey, and Natalie all voted to kick Frank out of the house. And Michelle threw some shade at him by saying, "See you in 5 minutes," meaning that a lot of people this season on the feeds were talking about production, quote-unquote, rigging things. That's been the topic of conversation on social media as well. Me, I'm just like, But anyway, we find out that Frank has a one-way ticket, so Frank went bye-bye. Julie Chen asked Frank what happened to the Vets Alliance. Frank said that I guess it got messed up after he went after Davon. Yeah, definitely did. And he didn't trust Dave because she wanted to make a final two deal with him, but she wanted him to make a final two deal with Nicole. And he felt like the worst mistake that he made was going after Davon. Yeah, because he failed at it both times. And plus, Dave would have been a great ally for him. I was hoping that those two would work together and steamroll their way to the end. But as soon as Frank turned on her, I was just like, daggone it, Frank. Ugh. And Frank says that he has a big mouth, which he does, and it got him into a lot of trouble in season 14 as well. I still can't believe that Davon called Frank the stinking tank. I'm still laughing at that, but you guys take care. Let me know what you thought of this episode and the season so far. And did you believe that Frank had the round trip ticket? And now that it was revealed that he has had a one-way ticket, who do you think has that round trip? Who are you rooting for right now? And who do you want to win HOH? And who should they nominate? Me? I don't know at this point. I really don't. But as Rachel Riley always said, floaters better grab a life vest. I definitely paraphrased that one, by the way. But I love you guys. Bye, guys. I'll see you Monday, probably. But hopefully I can get this review done early on Sunday. But bye, guys. I love you all. Bye.